This is a CBS News special report, the funeral of Pope Francis. Welcome to Rome. I'm Norah O'Donnell, along with John Dickerson, overlooking Vatican's St. Peter's Square, where there are tens of thousands already gathered here to witness and say goodbye to the pastor and bishop from Buenos Aires, Argentina, who led the Roman Catholic Church for the past 12 years.
The Pope died here at the Vatican less than a week ago. On Wednesday morning, the Pope's coffin was brought inside St. Peter's Basilica, where he lay in state for 3 days. More than 250,000 people stood in line for hours to pay their respects. And now it is time for the final farewell.
That's right, John, and we see, of course, many of the dignitaries arriving here. Cardinals and other church leaders have come from all over the world for this funeral mass that will begin shortly from inside the Vatican. You can hear the bells tolling. They are joined by a long list of dignitaries, including President Trump and former President Biden. 164 countries sent official delegations. The Vatican says 50 heads of state and 10 monarchs are here this morning, along with 224 cardinals and 750 priests and bishops.
A papal funeral is usually long and rather ornate, but we are told Pope Francis wanted something simpler. The ceremony should last about 90 minutes. His closed coffin will be brought outside to St. Peter's Square, where the Mass will be held. It will be led by Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, the Dean of the College of Cardinals. Cardinal Re was the person 12 years ago who asked the newly elected Pope what name he would choose at the end of the last conclave. When the funeral is over, Pope Francis will be taken to his chosen burial place at his favorite church in Rome, the Basilica of St. Mary Major. That is a break from recent tradition. Other popes were laid to rest in the tomb underneath St. Peter's Basilica.
And that's why what we're going to see today is so extraordinary and so different from what we have seen in the past. There we see the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and his wife. They're paying their respects inside St. Peter's Basilica. And, you know, John, Pope Francis will be the first pope to be buried outside the Vatican in over 100 years. And this is new, too. You know, to welcome his coffin at St. Mary Major is going to be a group of people that Pope Francis felt close to, the marginalized. It was actually in his will that the Pope asked for his tomb to be quite simple, without particular decoration, and with the lone inscription of Franciscus. And as I mentioned, the people that are going to greet him, and we'll see this later, are migrants, people from the LGBTQ community, and the poor. There, there's his tomb, a picture of what it will look like, because his tomb will sit inside this niche in a side aisle of St. Mary Major, made of marble from Liguria. That's the region of Italy where the Pope's grandparents were from. I was actually there just the other day, and then, of course, that's the reproduction of his pectoral cross hanging above his tomb. And the significance of that marble, the Liguria marble, it is not a fancy marble like a Carrara. It is called the People's Stone, and so appropriately so, that's what his tomb will be made out of.
Every detail of the day, as with his papacy, aimed towards, guided towards the people, moving himself, his office, and his church out into the people.
Today's funeral marks the beginning of an official 9-day period of mourning. It's called the Novum Dialis. And the service will largely be a conventional Catholic funeral, mostly in Latin. But this is so interesting. We're going to hear so many other languages shortly: Greek, Portuguese, Chinese, and Arabic. And this is a nod, really, to the global nature of the church, and certainly Pope Francis's place in the world and in the people's hearts. And, you know, I have to tell you, just a short time ago, I went down to St. Peter's Square. And this is the good fortune of being a journalist and having a press pass. You are able to go in And I was very emotionally moved because I met people from all over the world in just a quick moment. I met a woman from the Central African Republic who was standing next to a man from Lebanon. And he said, this is the universality of the church. And Yvette talked about how her father had died in the war, and yet Pope Francis had been there to the Central African Republic. And she said to me, I am praying for peace today for my country, and Pope Francis is my angel. And Father Figueiredo, I was very emotional, because to realize how Pope Francis made people feel, that he is a hope for them, and he's brought people together in a way that I've never experienced in my life.
It is something very special, Norah. 12 years ago, Pope Francis appeared on the balcony and he bowed and asked the people to pray for him. Again, so moving. And just to see monarchs, heads of state, the ordinary people now bowing before Pope Francis as he makes his final journey back to the Father's house. He gave of himself to the very end, and I think that was such a great sign for ordinary people. He gave voice to the voiceless. He really believed that the powerless were not in charge of their own destiny, and he simply tried to make their lives a little bit better. It is very emotional, it's very moving. I experienced that firsthand myself.
And John Allen also joins us. He's the editor of Crux, a news site specializing in the Catholic Church. John, give us a sense of how much of a departure that was for a pope to be among the people, to orient the church out into the streets the way that Francis did.
Well, you know, in a sense, all modern popes have tried to reach out. I mean, John Paul II, for instance, took more than 100 foreign trips around the world. He actually traveled 2.5 times the distance between the Earth and the Moon to try to be present to people. But I think what was unique about Francis was not simply the effort to be present to people, but most especially to be present to those who had been forgotten and marginalized and set aside. He was known as the Pope of the peripheries, this sort of constant outreach to those who had been shoved aside by the processes of history. And I think the fact that you see that the universality that Norah was talking about, this was the Pope of the whole world, not simply the West, which was the tradition of the Catholic Church, primarily a Western institution. Pope Francis was, in a sense, the first truly global Pope. And I think you're going to see that reflected in this morning's Mass as well.
And Monsignor, there's quite a straight and direct line to the idea that we are all God's children. So that, in other words, seeing everyone, seeing the marginalized, seeing the least among us. And Pope Francis talked about when he went to the prison that he could very easily have been there. He talked about his parents, immigrants from Italy to Argentina, that they could have perished on a boat ride. But I guess the point is the scriptural line can be drawn from this idea of the universal church to the idea that is universal mankind is all related.
And that's what makes this papacy so very special. Just 4 days before Pope Francis died, he visited a prison. And his doctor tells us that he visited Pope Francis that Saturday morning, and Pope Francis told him, "I have only one regret. I wasn't able to wash the feet of the prisoners." And that's quite amazing. Yes, Pope Francis did make the church more universal. We know that in the makeup of the College of Cardinals. 23 new nations, some of them most forgotten nations, Fiji Islands, Samoa, great places like Venice, like Paris, no longer have cardinals. So from the bottom up, from the top bottom, Pope Francis has changed the church. There's no doubt about that. He is the people's Pope. He wanted to be with the people. And I think that's why we're seeing this great outpouring of love for him today. And it's going to be a very moving few hours, our final farewell.